Hi, Peacock.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm great. We're back.
We're back, finally.
I know. I just feel like we've been just traveling like crazy.
It has been a little bit of a busy season.
Well, I'm super excited about episode 16. You know why?
Wow. Why?
Because we have our first guest on our
I know. I'm so
podcast.
excited.
So, the title of this episode is A Conversation with Ashleigh Taylor from Ashleigh Taylor Portrait, located in Santa Barbara, California. Welcome, Ashley.
Welcome.
On. I'm so excited to be here.
This is our bestie from Switzerland. We met in Switzerland.
Yes, we
So,
did.
you know what they say, when you make friends around the world, those are the ones you keep forever. So,
I know, and
And
it's
here
so
we are,
funny because
Ashley.
we live so close. Yeah, we met all the way in Switzerland. So that's
Right?
always funny to me too when stuff like that happens.
I love it. So, welcome, Ashley. We're so excited to have you as our first guest. We actually, Anna and I are completely, in love with you because we think you're great, you're talented, you're funny, and you love to travel. So, let's take this opportunity to find out a little bit about you. So, tell us about yourself, Ashley.
Yes, so I am a portrait and branding photographer. So I have a physical brick and mortar studio in Santa Barbara, California. I've had it for 11 years, which is kind of crazy to me that I've been doing this that long.
Amazing.
And so what that means is I take portraits predominantly for women, but really for any human that wants to feel confident in front of the camera. I really specialize in working with people who hate having their photo taken or claim to be unphotogenic, because I really believe that that's not true. You just haven't been photographed by the right person. And I know how to make people feel comfortable in front of the camera, feel confident, feel their best self, pose them, direct them, and get the most beautiful photos they've ever seen of themselves, whether that's for celebrating personal milestones with loved ones or family members, or for their business. Because these days, so many businesses are needing to meet people in the online world. And so having great images for marketing is so key. And I'm also an obsessive traveler for the past since 2018. So I don't know the math on how many years that is at this point. 6 years.
6 years.
I have been offering destination portraits to my clients in Paris and Venice, Italy, which has been amazing. I'm doing that again this year. So that's how my travel love started. And then I started going on retreats and becoming a retreat photographer. And now I'm hosting my own first retreat, which you two will be the coordinators for in October in Spain. So lots of exciting things.
I think
That is
it's
so amazing.
exactly. It's amazing. You took the words right out of my mouth. It is amazing to see what you have built in the 11 years, from moving from one to the next, and then you just keep branching out. And that's the beauty of it. I'm just so more excited that, you know, as an award-winning photographer, how you make people feel, because we talk to so many people and everybody gets the nerves of, oh my God, the anxiety. What am I going to do? How am I going to pose? And you take care of all of that. So that is 100% the best way to go.
Yeah, and I even tell people like what to think about for what to wear and what would be most flattering and all those things too. So, truly when someone books a photo shoot with me, it's very different. There's obviously so many photographers out there, and not knocking anyone, but there's definitely cheaper options where you can just hire someone to meet you at the park or the beach,
Yeah.
or that kind of thing, and then they just show up and they take your picture and they send you the files and you're done. And that's like very opposite the way I do it. It's such a luxury boutique experience with me because I'm going to hold your hand from the moment you book. I'm going to help you with what to wear to feel confident. We're going to spend 3.5, 4 hours together on your photo shoot. I provide hair and makeup. And then we sit down and we select your best images, and then those get retouched by the retouching fairy. So and then if people are doing branding photos, of course, they just get the digital files because that's usually what they need. But if someone is coming to me for more of a personal nature photo shoot, they usually get gorgeous wall portraits or photo albums to really be able to look through those photos and enjoy them forever. So it is just, I just offer a different experience than most people.
And I love
And
that you
I
have,
think that
I was going to say, I love that you have a retouching fairy. I got a whole visual. Ding, ding.
and some people don't really understand that investing in photos that are going to either be the brand of your company
Yes.
or your marketing tools is very important. So, and then pictures live forever.
Mhm.
So, if I'm going to live forever, I better be retouched, girl. I, I can't be out in, in 2099 looking like I wasn't retouched. Like there's just no way going to happen. And
Yeah.
so, of course, it really requires professional help. Again, because these pictures are going to live forever. And I really do appreciate, Ashleigh, that that's what you bring to the table when women are insecure about how they're going to look when they take pictures.
Yeah.
And I think that with, Anna and I are 50-ish. And at some point in our lives, we didn't have this problem. But now, as we're getting a little bit older, we are our worst critics. I can see every fine little crow's little foot under my. I know it's ridiculous. But of course, the rest of the world is like, what are you talking about? We can't see it. I can see it. But again, the fact that you make us feel good when you're taking these pictures is really what makes you so special.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, I think too, like with the destination portraits that I do too, that like adds another level to it because
I was
like
just going to
then
say.
it's memories of a trip, but it's also like these really glorious memories of a trip. For example, like when I do photo shoots in Paris, there is a lot of like retouch fairy that happens because we take the trash from the streets out and the trash cans and
All
we
the people
make this.
crossing.
Yeah, and we like we do the shoot at sunrise, so they're not that obviously we couldn't
Oh,
take out
good.
hundreds of people from the background. But we do take out like what the stragglers, and usually there's a lot of trash, unfortunately, on the floor in these shots that we clean up. And then a lot of times we drop in like a really fantastical looking sky because sometimes the sky can just kind of, if it's not a cloudy day, which we don't want a cloudy day for your photo shoot, but if it's not a cloudy day, the sky can sometimes be very uninteresting. And then what makes the photos look so spectacular is that Eiffel Tower and all the things.
Yeah.
So the big, beautiful, like dramatic sunrise sky. So there's so much retouch fairy too that happens not just to the person when we're on location, but to the location to sort of obviously it's a beautiful location, but sort of make it even more fantastical and beautiful. And what I
Yeah.
always tell people is like, I know AI is this new thing and people are making all these crazy AI images of themselves, and that's super fun to play with, but you will never forget being with me watching the sunrise in front of the Eiffel Tower. Like you just will never forget
That's
that. It is such an amazing
period.
feeling. I've done so many of these photo shoots and every time I see it, I still go,
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
Eiffel Tower like so many ridiculous times at this point that it's like it shouldn't be that exciting to me, but it really is. So when people have these portraits, I really feel like they get transported back to the magic, not only of the photo shoot, but when we're in a really amazing place, they get transported back to the magic of the trip and the things they saw and the memories that they created. So that's something, I can't do it all year long, unfortunately, but it is something special that I love to offer because it is a really special upgraded experience.
So, do you do these shoots in Paris and in Venice every year? And if you do, what time of the year do you do them?
Well, so my travel schedule gets kind of full. So, for example, this year I'm going to a retreat as the retreat photographer in Ireland. And obviously, Paris is just kind of like a hop, skip, and a jump. So I decided to tack on a few days in Paris afterwards and advertise it to my clients, and 2 clients took me up on it. So I will also like the Spain retreat, for example, I will offer the photo shoots in Paris after my Spain retreat in case anyone wants to extend their trip out and also go to Paris and have like even more photos taken in a different amazing European background, or if there's anyone else who wants to they should come to my Spain retreat, but if there's someone who wants to just have a photo shoot in Paris, then they can do that as well. So I usually just try to book it around my schedule. And so historically it's been around May and June. This year it will be around May and October. So I try to give my clients plenty of heads up if they'd like to join. And then in Spain, I'll be doing amazing photo shoots in the incredible historic home that the retreat will be taking place in, which isn't the Eiffel Tower, but is certainly gorgeous and magical in its own way.
It is an
Absolutely.
amazing property. It has the different colors. You've got all the architecture. You really are put in a place that you just immerse yourself. So I can only imagine what those pictures are going to look like.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's like a photographer's dream location. So I'm really excited to create there. It would probably be a little more not reminiscent of my studio in the sense that like my studio doesn't have amazing arches and tile work and all these things, but it'll have it has similar lighting, it looks like, to my studio, and it will be indoors, so there's more control over the environment. Because obviously if someone books their photo shoot in Paris, we're at the whim of whatever the weather is that day. And that's the day your photo shoot is happening. So, obviously I have contingency plans, but there is something nice to being in a controlled environment, in an indoor space. And like you said, it's got tile work, beautiful painted walls, courtyards, fountains, arches, just all these architectural staircases, like so many architectural spots, stained glass windows where we can put people and put women and make them feel and look amazing. And if someone wanted to put flowers in their hair and really bring out that flamenco style in their styling, I'd be happy to help coach them on what to bring in order to make that happen. So I'm really excited about the photo shoots in Spain as well.
So tell us.
So
I was gonna say.
Go ahead, Anna. Go ahead.
Tell us who this retreat is for. I want people to know the like. There's so many possibilities, but I want you to tell them.
Yeah. So this is a women's retreat, and to me, it's for any woman who is looking to take a reset, like hit the reset button and a pause out of life for a minute and really connect to their inner inspiration and creative flow. Because I think as women, we are highly creative, but sometimes life doesn't allow for creativity because we get so bogged down in the realities of life and the day-to-day hustle and taking care of everyone, taking care of our families, potentially our partners, taking care of work. We have so much on our plate as women of all ages, that doesn't offer a lot of time to connect to your creative feminine energy. And what I love about Cordoba, Spain is it is this place that is just full on every corner of beautiful art, architecture, dance, food, music. Like all the ways that you could be inspired creatively are just there in this little small section. And so my offer to you is to come and luxuriate, be inspired by all the beautiful art, architecture, dance, music that we're going to share and show you during this time, and food, of course, because food is like one of my love languages besides travel. And really take this time to not worry about the kids, not worry about maybe your parents that you take care of, not worry about family, work, home life. Really take a pause for you to meet other women, to be inspired, to think about how you can be more in creative flow and really honor your intuition, because when you're in creativity, you're also connected to your intuition, to your inner guidance. And let me help you embody that, and let's capture a little mini shoot as well in the home so that you walk away from this retreat also with something physical that you can look at and see of yourself and see, oh my gosh, this was when I was feeling so relaxed, so beautiful, so inspired by life. And whenever you look at that photo, then you're going to be transported to those memories. So it will have the lasting effect through memory as well when you get home.
But also, when you go to these retreats, you make amazing friendships. And those friendships also inspire you to whatever you're going through life, whether you're trying to open up a new business, whether you're having some challenges at work, whatever it is. When you come together with a group of people in retreats and you talk to them, it just feels like you get, like you were saying, Ashleigh, like a reset button, and you're just so empowered and so full of just resilience, right? And you come back and you're like, you know what? My people over there in Cordoba told me I could do it. I'm going to do it. Because that's what the whole point is.
Yeah.
Because we're stuck in a rut every single day. And then as we're going through life and going through this rut, all this inspiration that we have and all these things just kind of starts minimizing unless you recharge. Yeah,
Yeah,
it dwindles.
exactly.
So I think a trip like this to Cordoba, Spain with you, not only the retreat itself that's going to offer and so many things for women to be inspired and to be creative, but also the pictures that are they're going to bring home. This is like lifetime memories that are being made with a professional photographer like you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And I think too, like, it's really important to be in community with other women in a
Yes.
non-competitive way, which
Yes.
is something that really happens on retreat. Really, every
Absolutely.
retreat that I've been fortunate to be on has been, I've been lucky enough, they've all been women's retreats, and that's been the vibe of them. And that is like the community that I'm hoping to foster on my retreat as well, because I think it can be so healing to be witnessed and seen and make friendships with other women in a non-competitive environment, because often we're pitted against each other, especially in our local communities. So to like be able to step away from that, and you don't have to worry about feeling like you might get sucked into that competitive feeling. I think that's really important and key to have these nurturing female relationships. And, especially, doesn't really matter what your situation in life is, but I know like the older we get as women, the harder it is to make friendships. And I've loved going on retreats and group travel experiences, because I feel like you make amazing friendships and you make them faster somehow and deeper and more connected when you're not home and you're traveling and you're, I don't want to say stuck together for 5 days, because you don't feel stuck, but I guess like in a more incubator type of environment. And you really like end up having these deep late night conversations, like the way you would in high school with your girlfriends, that you don't get to do that anymore because we don't have sleepovers anymore, So I think it's really magical what happens on
I was going to
retreat.
say, it reminds me of summer camp because,
Yeah.
summer camp, it's only like a week, right? And then you're like so excited, you're doing things. Oh my God. And, barely sleep and you do all these great things and then it's over.
Yeah.
And so you got to go. So it definitely has that adrenaline feeling of, coming somewhere new.
Without camping. Because I hate camping.
Girl, say it.
Ashleigh,
Yeah,
that's
not the camping.
we were having a conversation, brainstorming ideas at midnight in Switzerland. That's exactly how we started.
I know. We were like, let's get on Airbnb.
Hold on. I want to know, was it Ashleigh who threw me under the bus that I had gone upstairs to go to sleep before 9 o'clock when I was supposed to be in, do you remember that Aaron had said nobody can go to bed before 9 o'clock? And I couldn't hang, and I went to bed at 7. Oh, it wasn't Ashleigh?
No, it wasn't Ashleigh. I think Christy noticed. She's like, wait a minute, where's, and I'm like, I'm not trying to say anything. I'm like, and then I go up there and I'm like, Sandy. She's like, don't even bother. I'm not moving. I'm like, oh.
I was trying to hang on. So while I was sleeping, you guys were over there, making magic.
It was an amazing experience because, like what Ashleigh said, we live pretty much close to each other, but we went all the way to Switzerland to connect. And then at midnight, we're brainstorming and all the ideas were flowing. And it wasn't just Ashleigh and I. It was the whole group that was sitting at the table.
Yes.
Everybody was pitching ideas and, hey, what do you think of this? And feedback. It was just, and it was in such a friendly environment where we were supporting each other. There was no competition. So for me, this retreat really, you're highlighting immersion, right? You're going to go immerse yourself in Cordoba. And you guys know, I have a special place because that's where my family's from. I can tell you that it just the environment and the ambiance that you get by stepping into Cordoba, you get a combination of so many things, but to be able to be accompanied by other individuals that are thinking like you, they're gonna capture your picture in that city that's going to create memories for a lifetime, and then along the way, creating these friendships that we just said, this is how they
Yes.
start. I think this retreat is an all-time, one-of-a-kind retreat that everybody should take an opportunity to embark on, especially, Ashleigh, this is something that you touched on, and Sandy and I have talked about it. How many times do we get the opportunity to remove all the hats that we wear? We're mothers, we're sisters, we're
Not a
daughters,
lot.
the list goes on. And then we forget who we are. And here you're providing a space where you don't have to be anything to anyone except yourself. How beautiful is that? So I cannot encourage this retreat enough. I'm shouting this at the top of the roof.
I think it's so key too, because women also feel really guilty. Like, I think one of the biggest objections when I have conversations with people who are coming, and a lot of the people like are overcoming this objection, but is like, well, I feel so guilty spending money on myself and not on a family trip, or not on my
Leaving my kids.
Yeah.
Leaving my kids behind. That's a big
Even
one.
sometimes adult children who are in college, I've heard this about like, well, I need to help support my kids. And that's so beautiful. Like, honestly, it's so beautiful. I see this quote on Instagram daily. I feel like it was targeted for me. But it always says like, travel now because your money will return, but time won't. And I really feel that to be
absolutely
super true. And I feel that so many women have put their lives on hold until their kids are graduated, out, sometimes not even graduated, they have to graduate college, not just high school. Women put their lives on hold, which is so beautiful, to take care of aging parents, which is so beautiful. But 5 days, you can't take 5-6 days out of life.
Take the time,
to,
a slice of a moment,
make memories.
Exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, and I think that's part we can't change, but we can offer a space where you can do this and surround yourself with other women that are feeling the same way. So here is an opportunity to showcase yourself. What better place? A beautiful location, historical, cultural, all of the beautiful things, with an award-winning photographer who's going to capture those memories for you for a lifetime as you're building these friendships. But, more importantly is who you're deciding who you're going to be. Who are you? You probably don't know when you have all these things, because, we don't stop, and you're allowing this time to put a pause on everything else and just focus on yourself. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. And what I love about retreats too is they're very slow travel. So I think that's the difference too between like group travel and a retreat, for example, which I love group travel, do not get me wrong. But what group travel can be very like, we have a schedule, we're gonna hit all these sites, we're gonna go, and that's super beautiful. Because who doesn't want to like maximize time and see everything? But also like being slow and taking time to reset is also a beautiful thing. And that's really, in my mind, what the difference between like a retreat and a tour is. And so this is truly a retreat. Yes, we are going to hit the major historical sites of Cordoba, and then there's also free time for you to explore the town with attendees as you like, or rest, or enjoy the beautiful home that we're staying in. So giving people time and space to make choices for themselves in the itinerary. Would you like to try like the Michelin star restaurant in town, or would you like to go to a small little cafe for dinner and just be among locals and read your book and have a glass of wine? Or do you want to chat with other attendees? So giving people group activities that we'll all do together, group meals that we'll all have together, and then also free time for people to make choices, rest, relax, do what suits them the most, is really something that I'm excited about in this trip too, so that women can take that pause and that rest for themselves, so that you don't have to feel like go, because the one thing I want to foster is that opportunity to really take care of yourself and suit your own needs too, and make those choices, since we aren't usually given a lot of opportunity to do that in our own everyday lives.
And yes, I think it's amazing as women how much responsibility we have, and then yet have guilt about not taking care of ourselves, which I don't know where that comes from. I think it just goes across all women, whether you're Black, Latino, white, it doesn't matter. It just feels like the guilt is unset to us because, you know, you don't want to leave your family behind or you don't want to leave your husband behind. But it's kind of like, if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of anybody else.
Mhm.
And having a moment to reset so I can be a better version of myself, so I can better help you, I got to get a break.
Yeah.
You got to be okay for me to leave for 5, 6 days and come back a better person and refreshed and ready to hit the pavement, you know, running. So I think this retreat also, I think a lot of people, when they talk about Spain, they get stuck in Barcelona or Madrid. And
Mhm.
there's so much more to
To
Spain than
Spain.
Barcelona and Madrid. And Cordoba, it has so many UNESCO sites and actually such beautiful, beautiful sites that go from Roman to Arabic, Muslim, Jewish. It's
Jewish
just a
quarters.
combination of all, from everything. And when you step into it and you look at it and you think, holy moly, this was built in 79 AD. Like, I can't even believe it. I always have a joke with Anna that if the world depended on me to build things, yeah, we'd be living like not even in mud huts because I don't even know how to make a freaking mud hut. Like, we would just be living like naked on the street. I don't know. So it's such an impressive thing to see the things they built so many hundreds and hundreds of years ago that is still standing, and then the history behind it. So like one of the places that we're going to be taking the group is to the Reyes Cristianos.
Mhm.
Alcázar,
So
los
It's
Reyes
called
beautiful.
that,
Cristianos.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alcázar de los Reyes Cristianos, which is an actual place that has been a huge component in history. That's where Christopher Columbus went to go visit the king and queen to ask for money to
Yes.
come to the new world, which that's a different,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
a whole
episode.
I'm like, okay, let's
Oh,
not
different
go into the
episode.
history part.
And also, Napoleon also used to use that castle for his military. I think he used it like a prison, but then he also used it for like a headquarters for during some of his wars. So it just really has so much history, and when you walk through it, you can't even imagine, you know, some of the things that have been happening. So again, Cordoba has rich history. It really is undisturbed
Yes,
history because
Yeah.
it's not like, you
yes.
know, I mean, they have some American stuff. Of course, they have a McDonald's and there's a Burger King and there's a Starbucks,
Just
but
about
it's not so Americanized and so packed with tourists that you get lost in what the whole reason for you being in Cordoba. It really forces you to immerse yourself into a culture and into an Andalusian culture that will just transport you, you know, back in time.
Yeah, and what's great too is October is sort of like the off season too, so it
it
should
is.
be even less touristic. So you really get to
Yeah.
have like that local Spain experience, really get and like what I love about Europe in general is just a place to travel is especially as like an American and not just an American but a West Coaster where Angelino where nothing's older than 25 years it feels like.
Right?
Um, like they even tore down my childhood mall because I guess something built in the 80s. So like to go to a place where you see, like you said, so much thousands of years of history and it's so preserved and it's so intact. To me, it always feels like walking through a fairy tale, like walking through
Mhm.
past lives, like walking
Yes.
through things that you can't imagine. And it's just so, like, things were just built so beautiful and charming back in the day. And artisans really took their time with
Very ornate.
everything. And you really see that. And it's just so, it is so immersive. Like, it is just being in another world to be surrounded by all of that beauty, and I find it particularly inspiring and beautiful as an American, and as like I said, as a West Coast American. We don't even have like the East Coast history. We have like no history in Southern
Zero.
California, so it's just so, unless it's like a Hollywood set. And that's the funny thing too, is sometimes I'll be someplace and I'll be like, is this real or is this Disney?
Right?
Reference to everything is like Fantasyland and Disneyland. I'm like, this is
Right?
real.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I know you mentioned right now the retreats in October. Tell us the exact dates.
It's October 7th through 12th. So that means that if someone flies into Madrid, they can either fly in that morning and then take the fast train. It's really easy to connect from Madrid to Cordoba via fast direct train. And the train is not very expensive, so you can take that train down and then check in the late afternoon. Or if you are coming from the West Coast or a long flight, like a long haul flight, you may want to stay in Madrid for a day or a couple of days. Madrid is a vibrant city, very safe, very fun place for a solo traveler.
And
And
lots of food.
yeah, lots of great food. Yeah. So you could come early and get your jet lag over with and rest and reset a little bit, or you could just come straight for the retreat, kind of up to how anyone wants to plan their trip. I know when I go to retreats, I'm really just such a YOLO girl. I always add a few extra days at the beginning and at the end for myself.
It's worth it.
Because I do feel like if you're flying for 12 hours, you should, make the most of it.
We agree.
We're right there
but
with
that's
you.
just me. You don't have to.
No.
So I wanted to make a comment about, how some of the things that are in Spain or even in Europe, they're so old. And, I think about like the artist talking to the person who wanted this mural painted. And they're like, so what do you think the estimated project time is going to be? I don't know, about 150 years. I'm going to contract my son, my grandson, and my great grandson. They're going to be on this job too. And they did it. Like, this is crazy. Like, you were born and you were like, oh, by the way, you got a contract. We got to finish this mural. It's amazing, right? Nowadays, I'll be like, it's going to take 1 week. We'll be done with it. Like, but back then they took such great time to, put their passion into what they love and their art. So I totally agree with you on that point.
Well, also just when you go to Europe, one thing that I really love is the invitation to slow down as an American.
Oh, yes.
Huge.
And that's why I want to host a retreat, particularly in Spain. I feel like the Spanish really know how to slow it down. And it's really like an invitation to, I know in Italy it's like called dolce far niente. I don't know if Spaniards have a similar phrase, but in Italy it means the sweetness of doing nothing. And it's really like an invitation to, sip your coffee slow and really savor every bite of food. Yeah, and eat your Spanish ham that's so delicious. Just tasting every bite and letting it melt in your mouth, and walk down the street slowly without purpose, and just wander and stroll and be inspired. And I really love that about Spanish culture. There's such a vibrancy to life. They stay out, they stay up, they take a nap, and then they're like, we're going back at it.
Yes.
They sure do. They sure do. And I don't get it. Like, you guys are out till 1:30 in the morning, but then you get up to go to work at 8. How does that work? Is it the nap?
They go at 8 and then they come home at 12. They have lunch and they take a nap, and then nobody goes back until 5. So they have plenty of time to make up that time.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But, the thing is, if I'm going home to take a nap, I'm not going back to work because I have to put on my pajamas.
But that's our mindset. Yeah, they have a totally different. Plus, in the summertime, it really does help because the heat.
Well, it's because it's freaking hot. Yes.
But the fact that they just continue that throughout the year, you're like, hey, well, it's just kind of customary. So yeah, they do invite you to slow it down.
So, I was scolded by the chicken man in Cordoba because I was so hungry. And I'm like, Anna, the chicken man opens at 8. So I'm going to go to the chicken man right now to go get our dinner. She's like, okay. So I get to the chicken man and I'm like, hi, I'll have a chicken. He goes, we just opened. And I'm like, yeah, but he goes, well, when did you think I was making the chickens? When I was sleeping? I was like, no, you weren't. I would think that's what we're doing.
I thought you were preparing.
Roasting. Nope. Yeah, I was like, I thought you left the chickens
at 9 o'clock
cooking
at night.
when you went to. He's like, come back. I was like, okay, I'll come back. Of course, I couldn't get an attitude with him because he is the only chicken man there, and the chicken's great. So, I couldn't tell him to go to hell or anything like that. So,
that's funny.
Mental note, because they open at 8 does not mean everything is ready by 8. Come back at 9.
They're very that's, I think, one of the things just I admire about Europeans is they really value their time boundaries. Yes. They're not gonna
Yes.
overwork. They're not gonna, it's very, but it is such like an invitation to live life differently, even if you don't take it all
Yes.
home with you. But you can take some of it home with you, but it is just like, I think there's so much more savoring and sweetness to life. And I think that's why I'm addicted to traveling to Europe, particular, although there's so many places in the world I want to go. And want to experience, and I'm sure they all have their gifts. But I do think that I get really addicted to Europe because there is such an offering to just slow down, be inspired by the magic that could await you on any turn, and walk more, eat better
Live life.
food. Yeah,
Live your life. Have
life,
a
yeah,
work-life balance. Have a work-life balance that really does mean work-life balance.
yeah. And eat
So
good food that's good for your body but tastes delicious. And so I'm really excited for people to experience all the dimensions, from the food to the dancing to the music to the going out to um restaurants and cafes and sitting outside and enjoying the weather and wandering the streets, and obviously taking in the sights that are so beautiful, and really just having that time to drop in to a different way of living for, like I said, 5 nights, for 5 days. I think it's really just like such a beautiful thing, especially whether or not you have experienced it. And there's so many people who are afraid, who don't actually have a person to travel with. And so some people have a person to travel with and feel guilty, and then other people, they don't have a person to travel with, and they let that hold them back from experiencing things. And what's great about retreat is you get to come and be with a group of women. So once you get to the house, you are fully taken care of. And for the times that it is free time, you're still not going to be without a roadmap. Like, there will be people who want to go out and
yes.
eat with you. We will show you where to go so you don't get lost. Like, it won't be intimidating. It will actually help you, because I've solo traveled so much, and I can speak from I still deal with a lot of anxiety, even though I know that I'm a very capable traveler. Um, there's something really addicting about knowing that you can do this
Yep.
and seeing it, and like having safe containers to do it, but seeing like, hey, I figured out the metro system in a city, or I figured out like the winding streets of Venice, Italy that make no freaking sense.
Right?
That
Or
part.
yeah, like I did it. I walked from the retreat house to the cafe. I was in the main square. I had dinner. I walked back. That can seem like such a simple thing, but I think as a solo traveler in a new country, that's actually can be a really big scary thing. And to know that you can actually do that is very empowering as a woman, especially because I think women are often taught that we're not capable of certain things, that it's not safe for us to do things, that we have to be careful, which obviously you have to be smart about everything you do.
Yes.
But there's so much fear mongering that happens for women around
Yeah.
travel, and I really want to empower women to do it because it's so life changing to have opportunities to travel and see the world. Is really like, seeing other cultures is really beautiful. And I know that on the day that I die, as like cheesy as this is, I know on the day that I die, I'm not going to regret all the trips that I went on. Like, that's not going to be one of my regrets. I'm not going
100%.
to regret the calories, and I'm not going to regret
No.
trips.
And fear mongering is a big thing. The fear mongering happens at any level, right? It could be your coworker, it can be a family member, it can be anyone. And we're talking from experience because recently we just came back from Cuba, and a lot of the women were saying that people were like, "Why are you going to go to Cuba? That's like a horrible place to go, or it's scary, or it's a communist country."
Oh
Well,
yeah.
yes, but we're not there to visit the government. We're there to visit the people and the culture, the
People.
music, the food. And then they came back, they were like, I can't believe that people instill fear when it comes to travel.
Hmm.
And but like we always tell them, we'll say, well, let them know. I'll come back and I'll let you know if it was exactly what you said or if it wasn't. And
Yeah.
majority of the time it isn't, right?
No,
No,
they
and
were
I mean, I had the
excited.
same thing with Egypt. Like, I just got back. Well, it's been back for a few months, but I went to Egypt recently, and that was the farthest I've ever been on a trip. It's the first time I've been to the Middle East or the African continent. I was so excited. It was a lifelong bucket list. At a certain point in my life, I wrote off the idea that I might ever go because it sounded so people fearmongered it to me so much. And then an opportunity fell in my lap to photograph a women's tour group. And I was like, I can't turn this down. I have to say
Absolutely.
but I was terrified. Like I shouldn't say terrified. Like I was confident that everything would be fine. So I wasn't like terrified in the sense that I wouldn't go, but I was also like, people were telling me all the time how scary it was. How, you know, just they were putting stuff in my head and I was trying to not let it get to me, but I was nervous. And then I had the best time. I loved the people. Every local person I met was beautiful, kind, warm, welcoming. I never felt unsafe. I felt taken care of. I experienced more luxury. I mean, obviously it is a very poor country, you know, developing country. There's a lot of poverty, but there is also a lot of like luxurious opportunities that happen. I shopped a lot and tried to support locals as much as I could.
Yeah.
I'm not good at haggling, so they got really good.
Whatever it was, here you go.
Like, lady, come back to our store because
come back. We want you.
So, and I would always be like, I supported the local economy. I did a terrible job.
They're like, thank you, Ashleigh Taylor, for coming to Egypt.
Yeah, I'm on a one-woman mission too.
I'm here to support.
But it
So
was
Ashleigh, if people are interested in getting more information, if people are more interested in getting more information on your retreat, where can they find the information?
Yeah, so if you go to ashleightaylourportrait.com, there's a little banner at the top of my website that says like, click here for information on our Spain retreat. So that's probably just the easiest website link. I'm also on Instagram at Ashleigh Taylor Portrait. Ashleigh Taylor Portrait on Instagram is the handle, and you can just DM me. I should tell everyone, just because we're in audio format, that the way you spell Ashleigh is ASHLEIGH, so not the normal way. So it's ASHLEIGHTAYLOR portrait.com, or that same spelling on Instagram. So DMs are welcome. Checking it out via my main website, but it's the banner linked on top, are all good ways to find out more.
So we'll make sure we add your handle and your website on the podcast, and also when we advertise it on Instagram, so people will be able to get a hold of you. So we have some quick questions for you so we can even get to know you even better now. So tell us, where are you originally from?
So I am born and raised Los Angeles girl, born at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. And now I live in Santa Barbara, which is only an hour and a half north.
So what are your 3 favorite things in life?
Well, I would have to say my family and my kid, but also cats. I love kitty cats. And I love traveling, obviously, and I love food like so much. So one of the things I'm most excited about the Spain retreat is like all the food we're gonna eat, because the Iberico ham in Spain is delicious.
The best.
The tapas are delicious. The paella is delicious. The wine
the oxtail.
Oh,
the oxtail.
I mean, it's all so good, and there's so much good seafood too. So, yeah. I mean, if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, we'll figure it out for you. But like, eat the meat. It's so good. I love
it's almost vegan. It's because the animal only eats vegan stuff, right? So it's almost vegan.
It's gonna be delicious. That's all I can say about Spain.
And then the last question is, what is the favorite place you have traveled to?
That's so hard because I love everywhere in Europe, including Spain, including Switzerland, including Paris. I feel like I have a recency bias on Egypt just because it was, like I said, kind of the most personally challenging trip I've ever been on. And I did love it so much. And I loved, I'm an ancient Egyptian nerd. Basically, when I was a little kid, I found out that they worshipped cats. And I was like, I'm interested. And you're like, that's it. for the ancient Egyptian culture and religion, please. So ever since then, I've been obsessed, and so it really lived up to the dreams and expectations that I had in my mind to see all those sites. So I guess what I would say is I haven't really been a place that I didn't love, but all the places I've been in Europe to date and Egypt are in my top places. I wish I could be more specific.
You're a true traveler, Ashleigh, because you find good in every trip that you've been to, and we totally agree with you. I mean, I don't think it's really hard to find a
There's no bad trip.
place that you're like exactly, because I think you have to be able to find
places
the good things.
Exactly, every place is very unique, and you embrace it.
Yeah, I mean, I even just recently went to Costa Rica, and I can't say it was like my favorite place that I've ever been, but it was absolutely beautiful, and like there's so much charm and wonderfulness to it, and like, yeah, I mean, is it someplace I'm rushing to get back to? No, but I still loved my trip. Like, I don't have any regrets about going on my trip. It was absolutely beautiful, and I would encourage anyone who wants to go there as well, So I think if you can go into any trip with just being open to receiving whatever the trip has to offer you and whatever life lessons the trip has to offer you, because that is like, to me, travel is like soul searching or soul development. And it's always there to teach you a lesson, and are you there to like receive the lesson, the good, the bad? Even if you have a bad experience or something happens to you, there's always a positive experience, and there's always a flip side of it, and there's always a learning to be had, and that's what makes you grow as a human being. So I do love traveling, and I try not to like poo-poo on any places, because they're all magical in their own way.
Well, the world is a classroom for sure, and if that's going back to school, sign me up, because but I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Ashleigh, so much for coming on our podcast. We love talking to you. We love your energy, because you just kind of pump us up. And we also have a couple of new trips that we just announced. We actually only have 3 spots available for the trip to Dubai in June. I know. And we also have Oaxaca, Mexico for Dia de los Muertos. We have Machu Picchu, Peru. We are also doing Egypt in November, and we're doing the Christmas markets, a river cruise, a luxurious river cruise in December. And I was looking at that trip, and I'm like, the fact that they have room service, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I was like, sign me up. I don't have to get dressed to go get breakfast. Girl, that's all you had to tell me.
I know. There's a treat.
That is a treat. So thank you again, Ashleigh. We're so excited about your retreat. We're going to tell the world about your retreat. And then also tell us about your event that you're having this April as well before we sign off.
Oh, yeah. So I know this podcast may be evergreen, but if you are listening to it when it comes out on April 20th, this year, 2024, I am hosting in Santa Barbara a night that is a portrait exhibition and gala of over from right before the pandemic, 2020 to 2023. I photographed 50 women in Santa Barbara and the surrounding communities, 50 women over 50, and it was to celebrate the diversity and beauty of all women over 50. There's so many amazing, inspiring women that I've met, and every story was different. Some are really high-powered business owners, some were moms, some never maybe wanted to be moms and never had that opportunity in life. Some people chose not to be mothers, and in that too, like, just age ranges, experiences, breast cancer survivors, different kinds of surviving domestic violence, like just so many powerful, really, really inspiring stories that all these women were so vulnerable to share with me and let me create these gorgeous portraits of them. And so a portrait of every woman, all 50 women, will be on display to really inspire anyone who comes to see how beautiful and rich the tapestry of being over 50 is. And we had participants from 50 to 83. So it's a really big age range. And I, would love to have anyone there who wants to celebrate women over 50, who wants to learn more about my work, who wants to see these portraits and bring women over 50. It's truly a night to celebrate women over 50, and that's what I'm so excited about. And it's in Santa Barbara, California. And so, again, if you're interested, like DMing me on Instagram to get the address and everything would be the best way to do that. And it's April 20th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Perfect. I love
Where's
it.
the after party? I'm just kidding.
I know, right? I don't know. We'll have to see where we can keep. I only rented the space for.
Ashleigh, I haven't gotten that
downtown
far yet.
Santa Barbara has a lot of bars.
We'll do bar hopping.
Yeah, we can bar hop. There's like downtown Santa Barbara is not hurting for restaurants and bars, that's for sure. And beautiful beach scenery.
Yeah.
So it will be a great night to definitely celebrate everyone. And yeah, I'm excited about it.
Thank you so much, Ashleigh. And we're so many things to look forward to. And thank you so much, Peacock. And until next time, thank you everyone for listening. And follow us on Instagram at @2_peacocks_travel. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.